We rank Steph Curry among the top 10 NBA players of all time because he is the best shooter of all time. This is the account of Steph's unconventional road to the NBA and the evolution of an all-time great from a scrawny, unranked high school athlete. Steph Curry was born in the same Akron, Ohio hospital as LeBron James. Because his father, Dell Curry, played for the Cavaliers, Steph Curry always wanted to play in the NBA. But neither Dell Curry nor anyone else had any faith in his ability to succeed. Even though Steph had exceptional skill, his size was the main obstacle to playing. On every team, Steph was the smallest and skinniest player, and every jersey he wore was too big and hung off him. The Curry family relocated to Canada when Dell Curry played for Toronto, and Steve and his brother Seth were frequently seen on the court shooting during halftime. And it was in Toronto that the young Steph truly developed as a player. His handling and shooting already resembled crossovers behind the backs, and a variety of complex dribbling maneuvers had become automatic. At the time, he was perhaps Canada's top young player. Being surrounded by NBA players and attending every practice was a huge factor in Steph's ability to develop a strong sense of the game and a love for working out at a young age. Steph developed an unbelievable work ethic since he understood he had to outwork everyone for a shot to even join the NBA, after accepting the fact that he wouldn't be tall and athletic. After every home practice, Steph would face off against Vince Carter in a one-on-one matchup. He was also frequently the Raptors' first choice in shooting competitions. He was already outshooting NBA players in three-point shooting at the age of just 12. Curry played for the Queensway Christian School and Toronto 5-0, helping both teams win provincial championships. Steph had a highly developed understanding of the game and was already an expert at changing direction, adjusting angles, and spotting the smallest openings to fire a deep shot. Defenders had to keep a watch on him because, for such a young player who always knew where everyone else was on the court, he never missed opportunities to score. Steph was modest and reserved, but if the opposing team tried to bully or intimidate him, he would turn into a baby-faced assassin and typically end the game with 30 or 40 points. The Curry family relocated back to Charlotte after Dell Curry's NBA career was over, and Steph helped his Christian school win 3 conference championships. When Curry was a senior, his team advanced to the state final against Greensboro Day, who employed the same strategies some NBA coaches currently employ against Steph. Even though Steph played his heart out, the box-in-one defense worked because a 6'6" athletic forward was devoted to Steph the whole game and ignored everyone else, denying Curry the ball and using his stature to irritate him. Curry, who was barely 6'2" and 160 pounds sopping wet and played the entire game with 8 points and a loss, didn't get any college offers. Curry was not listed in the junior national rankings despite his shooting masterclass prowess. He was regarded as the 16th best player in North Carolina as a senior, but he was also the 60th best point guard in the U.S. and the 300th best player overall. He could still pursue his ambition of playing basketball, though. Later, Steph received scholarship offers from 5 universities. However, Dell Curry's alma mater, Virginia Tech, would only give him a scholarship if he agreed to redshirt as a freshman. Steph ultimately made the proper choice in selecting Davidson College so he could remain in North Carolina and begin immediately. Curry led the Southern Conference in scoring as a Davidson freshman, averaging 21.5 points per game, and was second in the country among freshmen only to Kevin Durant with 122 three-pointers made. Curry led the Wildcats to the March Madness, where they lost despite Steph's 30 points, and he also broke the NCAA rookie season record for made three-pointers. Steph reached his current height of 6'3" during the summer of 2007. He entered his sophomore season averaging 25.5 points per game. Steph guided Davidson to a perfect Southern Conference regular season and another March Madness berth. Since the majority of the Davidson team was made up of students without a future in basketball, other than Steph and point guard Jason Richardson, no one anticipated the Wildcats to perform well. But then it started happening. Steph destroyed Gonzaga with 40 points and gave Davidson its first triumph in the NCAA tournament. when Steph scored just 5 points in the first half and Davidson was down by 17 points in the second round against 8th-seeded Georgetown in 39 years. It appeared that the team's season was over. However, in the Sweet 16 matchup against Wisconsin, Curry bullied the Hoyas with 25 points in the second half to help Davidson pull off a comeback victory. Steph extended his winning streak, dominating with 33 points in a decisive victory. Even against Kansas, the top-seeded team, who threw everything at him, Curry was the center of attention because he had gained national attention. Curry scored 25, but his miracles were short-lived, and Davidson fell short by 2. Over those special 4 games, Curry averaged 32 points, 3.5 assists, and 3.2 steals while shooting 44% from outside the arc. Because he wanted to improve as a point guard, which was his expected position in the NBA, he also shattered the record for the most three-pointers made in a single NCAA season. Even though he would have been selected in the lottery if he entered the NBA draft, Steph chose to stay in college. As a junior, Steph averaged 28.6 points, 5.6 assists, and 2.5 steals. He was the NCAA's top scorer and received unanimous first-team All-America honors. Curry had many skeptics before the 2009 NBA draft, despite the fact that he was a proven scorer and a deadly shooter. His lack of size and strength was the biggest problem, and many people saw him as a shooting guard in a point guard's body and didn't think he could be a good enough playmaker. 2 point guards were chosen by Minnesota with their picks at numbers 5 and 6, but neither of them was Steph. The most significant 19 words in Warriors history were delivered by David Stern.
Warriors select Stephen Curry from Davidson College.
After some brilliant general manager decided that Ricky Rubio and a 6-foot Johnny Flynn were superior to Curry. Steph quickly demonstrated that the Timberwolves general manager was stupid for not selecting him as a rookie. He finished second in the voting for Rookie of the Year behind Tyreke Evans with an average of 17 points, 6 assists, and 2 steals. Steph had 8 games with 30 or more points, which is the most 30-point games by a rookie since LeBron James and Carmelo in 2004. He also ranked in the top 10 in the NBA for three-point percentage and made three-pointers. The following year, he somewhat improved his stats, but he was no match for Monta Ellis, who averaged almost 20 shots per game to Curry's 14. Steph Curry did, however, lead the NBA in free throw percentage, shooting 93.5% from the line, which continues to be a Warriors franchise record. But as the season came to a close, Steph required ankle surgery because of multiple foot and ankle ailments on both ankles, which developed into a problem that would last for years. Steph had a reputation for being injury-prone despite playing just 26 games in his 3rd season. By the trade deadline, in exchange for Andrew Bogut, Steph was to be transferred to Milwaukee, but the Bucks doctor objected, saying Curry's ankles were too unstable. The Warriors fans were extremely disappointed that Monta Ellis, a fan favorite, was traded in place of Steph, but they had no idea that the Bucks medical staff had prevented the Warriors from making the worst error in team history. Curry accepted the Warriors' $44 million extension offer from the offseason of 2012, which now seems laughably meager. Back then, Steph's glass ankles made it seem like a gamble. In addition to Steph and second guard Klay Thompson, Warriors general manager Bob Myers also selected Draymond Green and Harrison Barnes. The group's core worked effectively together under Mark Jackson's guidance. After consistently being in the bottom 5 defensively for years, the Warriors have now begun to play some defense. More significantly, they began winning games to enter the playoffs for the first time since the We Believe team in 2007 by doing so. The Warriors then defeated the Nuggets in the 2013 playoffs before falling to the much stronger and more seasoned Spurs team. Curry once again led the NBA in three-pointers in 2014, while also setting career highs in assists, 8.6 per game, and scoring 24, and earning his first All-Star selection for the entire NBA. The Warriors concluded the season with the 4th best defense in the NBA and the most victories, 51. Sadly, they haven't played well in the playoffs since 1992, falling to the Clippers in the opening round. Golden State decided it was time for a change and fired Mark Jackson in favor of Steve Kerr, who would take the team to previously unheard of heights in 2015. The Warriors, led by Steph Curry, were the NBA's best team in terms of pace, points per game, three-point percentage, and assists. With Steph Curry at the helm, they also were first in defensive rating, second in blocks, and fourth in steals. The Warriors blew everyone out of the path with their speed before swiftly shooting them to death. Steph Curry shattered his own league record for most three-pointers made in a season. Curry received the most votes for the All-Star game and won the All-Star three-point competition. And the Warriors concluded the season with 67 wins, which is by far the most in the team's history. Curry was chosen as the NBA's most valuable player after averaging 24 points, 7.7 assists, and 2 steals per game. As if that weren't absurd enough throughout the season, he missed 17 fourth quarters because Golden State won by large scores. Despite their success, Charles Barkley's maxim that three-point shooting teams don't win championships led the majority of NBA fans to perceive them as this cute little club that would be outmatched in the playoffs. But thanks to their excellent defense, which was commanded by Draymond, Iggy, Bogut, and Clay, the Warriors proved that they were more than just a three-point shooting squad during the playoffs when they swept the Pelicans, beat the Grizzlies later on, and defeated Harden's Rockets to advance to their first NBA Finals. Since 1975 against the Cavs, the Warriors have trailed 2 games to 1 thanks to a supernatural performance by LeBron and unexpected assistance from Matthew Dellavedova, who played excellent defense on Curry. However, when Andre Iguodala entered the starting lineup, the Warriors simply had more talent. The Warriors won the following 3 games and the championship after his significant comeback. Iguodala received the MVP award for the finals because of his outstanding defense of LeBron. But Steph Curry certainly deserved it as well because he averages 26 points per game and 6 assists, compared to Iguodala's 16 points. Steph broke the record for the most threes made in a single playoff run by averaging 28 points during the postseason on 43% shooting. The Warriors' pace and space program, which was operating even more smoothly than the previous year when they won an NBA record 73 games in a season to become the best regular season team ever, were still galloping ahead of the rest of the league in 2016. Steph broke the NBA scoring record with 30 points per game while shooting 50% from the field, 45% from three-point range, and a league-best 91 free throws. He also broke the record for most three-pointers made in a season by making an unprecedented 402 threes at a time, when no other player even made 300. Many people think this was the best shooting season ever, and he was the 7th player to reach the 50-40-90 club. The Warriors were the overwhelming favorites to win the NBA title when Steph became the first unanimous MVP in league history. Everyone believed their season would be over after they fell behind the Thunder 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals. However, due to Klay Thompson's miraculous performance in Game 6, made a spectacular comeback and won the series. The Warriors had led the series by a score of 3-1 when Draymond was suspended, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James went into God mode. The Cavaliers became the first team to overcome a 3-1 deficit due to a knee injury. Curry was unable to really explode to the rim in the finals. This was most evident when Curry was unable to beat Kevin Love in the closing seconds of Game 7. After their 73-9 season produced no championship, the Warriors were made fun of by meme makers, analysts, and Richard Jefferson. However, their amusement was short-lived when Kevin Durant announced that he would be joining the Warriors. When Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Iguodala were combined with KD's points, everyone knew this team would be the best in the NBA. We think that this team, because of their shooting ability and defensive versatility, was the best team in NBA history. The Warriors were unbeatable in 2017, losing just 1 game in the playoffs on their way to the championship, while Kevin Durant earned the MVP award for the championship game. Despite this, Steph maintained a phenomenal true shooting percentage of 66, while averaging 28, 6, and 6 throughout the playoffs. Just for context, the 1991 playoffs marked Michael Jordan's best true shooting percentage, which was 60. The following year, Golden State kept up its hegemony. The Rockets came close in the conference finals, But these Warriors were unbeatable. LeBron was easily defeated by Golden State in the championship game, but KD won the MVP award once more, and Steph wasn't too far behind with a record of 27-6-7. The Warriors experienced a lot more controversy in the next season. It became heated between Draymond and Kevin Durant. Golden State was still the most talented team, even when KD was hurt. Curry showed that he was ready to step up the scoring, averaging 36, 8 and 7 in the conference finals sweep. The chemistry was different, and the future was uncertain, but Golden State was still the most talented team. The finals against the Raptors had been a very even series up until KD tore his Achilles in the first game back and Klay tore his in Game 6. The series was tied at 2 apiece going into Game 5, with all of the Raptors guarding it, Coach Nurse using the box, and one defense on it. Curry was playing like a god. Curry continued to score at a 30-point clip throughout the series, but due to the losses of his 2 best teammates, he was unable to win. Toronto went on to win the 2020 NBA championship, capping a run of 5 straight victories. Klay was recovering from an injury. KD moved to Brooklyn. Steph suffered an injury and only played in 5 games for the Warriors, who ended up being the poorest team in the NBA season. That offered him valuable time in the summer, something he didn't have during those finals runs though. At the age of 33, Steph Curry was playing the best, most mature, and well-rounded basketball of his career, which led to him winning his second scoring title with 32 points per game. Steph Curry's increased size also made him harder to bump on offense and improved his defense. But without Klay, who sustained yet another injury, the Warriors once again failed to make the playoffs. Even though he was still one of the most productive guards in the league, Steph had his worst shooting season of his career in 2022. It was the first time he averaged less than 40% accuracy from three-point range. Steve's increased muscle mass proved to be a significant difference in the postseason, and he developed into a plus defender. However, he was making them when it mattered in the playoffs. He led the Warriors to another NBA Finals against the Celtics, who possessed the league's greatest defense, by knowing when to attack and when to pass. Curry demonstrated why he is an offensive juggernaut unlike anyone other and a basketball genius. The Celtics had stopped Kevin Durant, Giannis, and Jimmy Butler during the playoffs, but they were helpless against Steph Curry, who scored 31 points on average during the championship game. He led the Warriors to a 4-2 series victory, winning his 4th championship and his first Finals MVP award with it. He had 63 true shooting nights during this period, including an outstanding Game 4 in which he scored 43 points and essentially single-handedly won the game. He further cemented his place in NBA history, and we think it's fair to say that he's one of the top 10 players of all time. That's not bad for a player who wasn't even considered a college prospect, who was selected 2nd overall in the high school draft, and who was in his junior year. Please give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see more exciting videos like it.